All right, let's send it upstairs. Dan, how's it looking?
Hey guys, we are looking good. It does look like we are within bounds of what we analyzed if we were down one of our RVAC engines. So I wouldn't call it nominal orbital insertion, but we're on a trajectory that we had analyzed, and it's within bounds. So team's continuing to work through it with that engine out. They're working through some steps on the engines. We probably will end up skipping the Raptor relight for today, but it sounds like we should still be on for payload deploy, at least at this time. So very dynamic moments right here with the ship, but we do have it in space. It is on a trajectory now, headed towards the other side of the planet, and then a splashdown in the Indian Ocean. It's going to start to get darker. We're heading into an orbital sunset, so we're gonna have darkness for a little bit, and then it'll brighten up once we're on the other side of the planet, and hopefully looking at some good daylight when we re-enter into the Indian Ocean. All right, so we're a little over 17 minutes into flight. If you're just now catching up with us, we did see a liftoff right at the top of our window. Super Heavy getting off the pad, initially lighting all 33 of those Raptor engines, got through a successful hot staging. Initially lit 6 engines on ship, had one RVAC go out on the way uphill, but still able to make it into space. And right now we're trying to see if we are going to get into payload deploy still. We're coming up right on the part of the timeline when we were expecting it. You look inside a Starship there. Oh, I see a door opening. Looks like Hal didn't wait. Pez door is open. Just a reminder, we've got 22 deployables in the payload bay today. 20 of those Starlink mass simulators, and then 2 are Dodger dogs, so we like to call them internally, sitting up their modified V2 Starlink satellites. Those are going to be testing a bunch of components that we're planning to fly on Starlink V3, and we've also got them outfitted with a number of cameras for another tech demo that we're trying out on this flight. We definitely are looking for a way that we can look at Starship's heat shield while it's still in space. You can kind of only see so much from the cameras and the flaps. You can't see everything kind of on the underbelly, and one of the only ways you can do that is if you got something else flying near it. So we're going to attempt to our final 2 satellites going out the door have a suite of cameras on them that are going to be looking back at the ship. We're going to be in nighttime, and so we've got, sounds like we're getting into payload deploy. We'll be in nighttime. They've got some powerful flashlights on them to try and illuminate the ship's heat shield while we fly away from it. So we see some Pez motion. Pew. 2 down, 20 to go. As a reminder, that's one of the things that we upgraded in version 3, kind of gave a little soup up to the Pez dispensers, so those satellites going to move out a little bit quicker than they did on previous Starship flight tests. So first 2 out the door, 2 more on their way out. All right, 4 down, 18 to go. Flexing my basic math skills here today. Again, the majority of this stack, 20 of these 22 satellites, they're essentially just mass simulators, so they're roughly the same size as those Starlink V3 sats that we're hoping to fly later this year. And from this top-down view, so you're looking down at the stack, those 2 satellites you see on the very top, that they'll look very different. They've got solar arrays. They've got a bunch of other deployables on them that we're going to be testing out that are going to be V3 tech, and they've got 3 engineering cameras and then 1 other camera that's hopefully going to be giving us some views of Starship in space. But we will see how that works. Again, this very much a tech demo. We're going to deploy those. The satellite's going to kind of try and turn everything on, look back at Starship, and the primary reason we're trying to do this is to get some views of the heat shield. All right, 2 more out the door.
2 more out the door, and I think that counts, or that comes up to 8 total.
As you can tell, the teams are stoked to see this demonstration happening. It's pretty incredible to see this happening live from space. Now, as we noted earlier in the show, but worth repeating, this Starship version 3 is built to deploy up to 60 of Starlink's more advanced V3 satellites. Everything's V3. Designed to offer 60 terabits per second of downlink capacity per satellite. Now, that is 20 times more than each Falcon 9 does today. Incredible.
All right, I think that's number 10 going out the door. Yeah, there it goes. So yeah, the camera view you have on your left screen there is basically right at the bottom of the payload volume. So the kind of dome-shaped structure you see there that's actually the top of the fuel tank.
Then the camera view that you have on the right is an external camera that we have positioned so that you can see basically the light through the open PEZ dispenser door that you see. That's that sliver of light. And we can see the Starlinks here deploying as each one comes through. As we mentioned, we have 20 of these Starlink simulator satellites, and then we have 2 of these specially modified, as we call them, Dodger dogs here around here. Those, as Dan mentioned earlier, they have some V3 tech on them, some solar arrays, and those will be the last 2 that will be deployed today.
Yeah, that's right. And seeing this, as I think Dan called them turbocharged or supercharged PEZ dispenser, it's definitely coming out much faster than our previous flights. So that is really good to see. Yeah, look at that. And especially once we, fill Starship up all the way with around 60 or so of these Starlinks, being able to deploy them fairly expediently is going to be important for designing the overall mission profile.
Yeah. Now, fans of Starship may know that Starlink enables lots of unprecedented views, both from space, as we see here, and on Earth. In addition to the dozens of cameras on Starship itself, we also have mobile Starlink camera kits deployed in the Indian Ocean.
Yes, Starlink also connects our aerial cinematography units on the ground at Starbase and at other strategic camera spots around Texas.
It's all part of how it all comes together to tell the incredible story of Starship both on and off planet.
Yep.
All right, we're getting low on the stack. It looks like we got 2 more of those simulators to go out, and then it will be time for our Dodger Dogs, those modified Starlink satellites. Just a couple of updates while we continue to watch Payload deploy. Did get confirmation we're going to be skipping that relight of the Raptor engine, just due to everything that we saw on the way uphill. Those sea-level engines, we're going to use them for a landing burn, though. They are still capable to be used for that. So we'll still look to do a controlled landing in the Gulf, but no in-space relight. All right, I think that's 19 and 20 headed out the door. And then coming up are our Dodger Dogs. So these are modified V2 Starlink satellites. We do have a number of cameras on these that are going to attempt to look back at Starship. We're not going to get this video in real time, but we're going to try and turn it around if we do get some video down. So don't worry, if we get views of Starship from these satellites, we will be sharing. And these will be exciting because, again, they're really a tech demo, getting our chance to test out some of the technologies for version 3. All right, I think that's 18 and 20. My basic math skills are failing now. All right, here we go.
We're standing by for Starship, basically to serve the first Dodger Dogs to low Earth orbit.
And one out the door. And from this view, you can kind of see on the right side of the satellite, you see some bright white spots. Those are our flashlights. Beneath them, the camera is going to attempt to look back and image Starship's heat shield as it flies slowly away from the vehicle. And there it goes. Let there be light.
Yeah, it almost looks like the light is just shining right at us there.
If you couldn't tell, we're pretty excited.
Yeah.
It is always sunny in space.
Always sunny in space, and that looks like an empty payload bay. So
Sure does.
That's exactly what you want to see there. That's great. So yeah, with payload deploy complete. Oh, you can see the door closing there. All right, there we go. So yeah, with payload deploy complete, Starship will now close its... Starship, we closed the payload door, and we're going to continue to coast around Earth all the way to the Indian Ocean. So still a lot of major events to come today. Sounds like we're not going to hit that Raptor relight, based on what Dan was saying, but after that, of course, we'll have the atmospheric reentry and splashdown. And with that, we're going to go on another quick coast.
So sit tight, enjoy some amazing space views and the space jams, of course. And we'll be back in a few minutes for Raptor relight. Excuse me, not for the relight, but we'll be standing by for atmospheric reentry.